you watched my Where Have I Been video, you know I kind of took on a big side project. I'm the project manager for a home being built maybe 15 minutes away from my house, maybe 20 minutes. It's a 7,000 square foot house, ground up construction. I mean, the property was woods. We logged it, and obviously I'm not logging it. I'm the project manager, so I'm basically making sure the job runs right and it gets built correctly. And I see a lot of trades. We have a lot of trades coming to this job site. And I got to thinking, what's the blue collar individual, male or female, what are they driving in 15 years? Because right now, the people that aren't making a lot of money, we're talking about somebody who's making 60 grand or less. Maybe their wife or their husband works too, and maybe combined income, they have less than 100 grand a year. They own a home and they have 2 kids. The person going to the job site isn't driving a brand new truck. They're not. If they are driving a brand new truck, they're making bad life choices. I'm sorry. Right now, they're driving somewhere late 90s, mid 2000s. That's kind of the last of the cars you can fix yourself without like a PhD. Now look, I know that the younger people right now, they're growing up smarter than we grew up. Obviously, I'm good at computers. I own a software company, and I can fix complicated things. But the cars that are coming out now, you don't just have to be smart. You actually need diagnostic equipment to understand these complicated problems. And these complicated problems show up after 100,000 miles, where usually a blue-collar person is going to be driving it. So what's going to happen? Now, the right to repair rules, what was that? When was that? I don't remember exactly. Was it in the 90s where basically, well, the OBD1 came out, which was kind of garbage, but it was a very important step. OBD2 came out, which is the greatest advancement in diagnostics for the DIYer ever. I mean, it was so simple. You just plug, just like this car, you just plug it in, it tells you code, and about 80% of the time, that code tells you exactly what to change, and you changed it and you're good, right? Sometimes it takes a little bit more figuring out, but most of the time it's pretty damn accurate. Now, the right to repair rules basically just says you need to make diagnostic equipment available for somebody, even if they don't own a business. You can't just sell them to B2C, right? It can't just be to a mechanic using it for a customer. You have to sell it to an individual. The problem is, who's going to buy a 5-figure diagnostic equipment so they could fix their I don't know, 2022 Chevy Silverado? It's ridiculous, right? 15 years from now, it's not going to happen. So we are going to either have to see an advancement in diagnostics, or we're going to have some cheaper cars come, because it's not adding up. It just doesn't make any sense. You're not going to be able to drive around a car with 120,000 miles on it and you're making 50 grand a year if that car came out in 2022. The problems that are going to happen, they're just going to be too expensive. And nowadays, these cars, they're all different. They're all different. It's not like when this car came out where there was 12 different cars built on the same platform. Right? It's not like that anymore. These cars, they're all different. They're all complicated. They're all run by computers, and they all need like dealer level diagnostic equipment. Not only that, but now we have the screens that are running everything. Well, when those things blow out, what's going to happen there? I mean, these screens are going to be, thousands of dollars to replace. The car's undrivable if they break. How is that going to happen? How is that going to work in 15 years? It just doesn't make any sense to me. It's not adding up. So maybe somebody can explain it to me. Is if we don't get these cars to be cheaper, what are people that make now I'm saying 60 grand, and I would hope the people that are making 60 grand right now doing something, those same people are not going to be making 60 grand in 15 years. Look, the blue collar person has been getting screwed now for I don't know how long, right? I mean, electricians, some people are figuring it out. Mechanic, obviously, you're making a bunch of money. You can make a bunch of money, especially if you work for a dealership, right? Where you're getting paid. But it's only because of voodoo. That's the only reason you're getting paid a lot of money from as being a mechanic is voodoo, because you're getting paid from the hours from the book, where you might put in 40 hours in a week, but you get paid for 60 if you're a really good mechanic. That's voodoo. There's no other profession that works like that, right? So yeah, you can make a lot of money if you're good at a mechanic, but that's only because of like a technicality. But yes, you can make money. Electrician, plumber. But other than that, and even those guys, they're not, unless you own the business, you're not making a ton of money. You can make 100 grand. Maybe you can make a little bit more with overtime. Yeah, that sounds like a lot of money, but nowadays 100 grand is not a lot of money. I'm sorry. I mean, I know that might, somebody's making 50 grand. They're annoyed at that statement. Just wear it as a badge of honor, because you're getting by on 50. If you're getting by on 50, you'd wish you had 100. Trust me when I tell you, 100 is not much different. That's not life-changing money. It really is not. It's a cushion. That's all it is. You can't live much different on 100 grand. You just can't. If you do the math on it, you say, oh man, if I was making 100 grand instead of 50, what could I do? So I could buy a nicer house. Or like, I could buy a house. Okay, there's a good change. If you're renting, then you could buy. Now you think that's a big upgrade, but in reality it's not. It's not. The house costs more money. I mean, the house costs more money than renting. You think to yourself, I'm saving. You're not saving any money buying a house. You lose money on a house. So it's not like you're making $500,000. It's okay, I can get a nicer car. Well, that's great, but that's just wasting money. I mean, that's a quality of life issue, right? I mean, you can have a little bit of a nicer car, but what else is there? I mean, you can have, maybe you can eat better. Okay. Right? There's nothing else. This is not like you can buy a second home now, or you have a driver, right? Maybe if you wouldn't, here's a good one. Maybe if you didn't have health coverage before because you couldn't afford it, you didn't want that money taken out of your paycheck, maybe you can now. That's a big upgrade, having health care, which seems crazy, is that surviving is an upgrade. Well, that's how we're living over here right now. But I tell you, I'm concerned about the blue-collar worker 15 years from now. What are they driving? It doesn't make much sense to me. If you got a solution, when these cars like this and others, and some of the Toyotas and the Subarus and some of these cars that we're still driving around, I should put up that graphic again, that we're still driving around after all this time, and they're easy to fix, and they're reliable, and they're cheap. When these things just waste away to nothing, what are we going to be left with? We're going to be left with driving around a freaking computer that we don't know how to fix, unless something changes. So, all right, everyone. I'll catch you on the next one. See ya.